He winks at me. I try to conjure an irritated look, but end up laughing instead. Trying not to be too obvious about his feelings, was he? Am I truly that oblivious? Yes, you are. Alrighty. Welcome back, any and everybody. This is Linen Otter, here to do another episode of The Taste of Fire. Last time we left off, we finished bearing our heart to Valos in a very embarrassing way. And this is third time's the charm on recording this. But we're just gonna pick up where we left off. See if he beats us up or not. Alright. Yeah, so he may not have indicated that he feels the same, at least hate me now. Valos points to a rocky outcrop, and after my nod, we both sit there. Now that he has agreed to talk, though, I find myself unable to meet his eyes again. So, I am sorry if my behavior has been confusing. I'm ignorant of the dragon's customs, so I did not know how you would even feel. Valos laughs at that.
If you wanted to learn something about dragons, Sam, you could have just asked, well, a dragon.
You do not just ask something like that.
Then how do you learn?
As Valos continues to chuckle, I look up at him, unable to restrain a smile of my own. I suppose you have a point. And, well, you are someone I now realize would listen without judging or worse, attacking me. The dragon's expression drops at those words.
That's something everyone deserves to have.
Maybe, but you are the first one with whom I have felt that way. All the more because of what I just told you. Because growing up, I was taught that having affection like this for another man was deplorable. If they knew, I would be driven out of the village. If I was lucky.
That's awful. There's nothing wrong with having relations of that nature. It is perfectly natural.
For dragons, maybe.
It is not something to feel guilty about, Sam.
Humans, at least those in my village, feel very different.
And you?
I think I never want to go back there again. But it's not just that. We're not even the same species, and
I've seen many couples who are not of the same species. That is also something that is not shunned back home.
It must be obvious I'm not entirely convinced, because Valos moves closer, his expression stern but kind as he looks me in the eyes.
Sam, you should never have to fear harm for your feelings. They're not something you can control. I know.
Do you, how do you feel about what I said? Valos leans back, a strange smile on his snout.
Honestly, I thought all this time that I was being too obvious. I guess not, huh?
He lets out a wry chuckle.
I've had feelings for you for quite some time now, Sam.
My mind goes blank. This is not something I had even dared to hope for. It's almost as if I was in some kind of furry visual novel. He has feelings for me?
I'll commend myself for keeping it subtle then.
Despite myself, I have to laugh, and so does he. I guess I might have suspected something this morning, when your tail...
Oh.
The dragon looks away, scratching the side of his head in embarrassment, and it has to be the most adorable sight I've ever seen.
Well, what I mean to say is, if you'd like to, I would see where this goes. For both of us. As slowly as it needs to for you to be comfortable. And if it makes you happy, then, well, I couldn't ask for more.
It's then I realize my hands have been trembling this whole time, but the knot inside my stomach seems to have loosened, if only a little. I'm beyond nervous. Relationship, with a dragon no less, is not something I would have ever considered. It's not like I'm in some kind of furry visual novel. But I know that it's something I want. Valos makes me feel like never before. So I nod bashfully. I would like that. Valos beams.
Wonderful.
He stands and extends a hand to help me up as well. I take it, then brush the dust off my breeches while the dragon looks up at the sun.
All right, we should be on our way, lest we slip too far behind our schedule. If we decide not to stay at this hideout, I'd prefer to return before nightfall.
As we trek further into the forest, I feel lighter somehow, as if a great weight has shifted off my back. It seems unbelievable that Valos would actually want me. A small, venomous part of my mind insists he must be toying with me, but I silence it. He looked so genuinely happy when I agreed to his proposal that I don't think he could have been faking it. What all this entails, I have no idea really, but I'm eager to find out. This hideout should make for a better training ground than the room at the inn at least.
Fair enough. It will be nice to have some room to maneuver. Glad that you still want to do that.
If you promise to stop knocking me down.
As long as your footing is good enough, you'll have nothing to fear.
He winks at me. I try to conjure an irritated look, but end up laughing instead. Trying not to be too obvious about his feelings, was he? Am I truly that oblivious? Yes, you are. But when I think back to it, I can see what he means. Not just the tail incident this morning, but the way he acted during our short trip to the hot spring, or his treatment of me in general. There's also what happened between him and Relzin, of course, but that is not something I want to talk about now. Some other time, perhaps. Besides, I'm still ashamed I chose to stay and watch when they had sought privacy. That is something I should apologize for. And Valos, well, if he had thought I wasn't interested, I suppose it makes sense he would seek out someone else's company. But now that we are together, would he want that from me? I can't deny that as nervous as the thought makes me, it also brings some excitement with it. Because at the end of the day, there's simply no denying that what I saw was arousing. No, not just that, but Valos himself is attractive to me. His muzzle, his smile, the wings folded at his back, the powerful curves of his muscles, the feelings of his scales against my skin. I want to experience more of that.
Watch your step.
I hop over a stone that I almost tripped over. Thanks. So, what do you think?
Shush.
He holds up a hand, and I fall silent. Then, suddenly, Valos pushes me aside and unsheaths his sword, all in one fluid motion, even as we both heard the sound of something swinging nearby. I see it hurtling towards the dragon, several metal balls attached to a rope, hitting Valos, entangling his legs and sending him to the ground. Before he can even attempt to free himself, something else flies through the air, flashing briefly as the sun hits the glass, and then the bottle shatters next to Valos. A dark purple mist engulfs him. I rush to his side, but as the mist hits my eyes, they start to water, and the rancid smell sends me into a coughing fit. Valos? I barely manage to squeeze the words out in between coughs. Valos doesn't respond. He's not even moving. I hold my breath and touch his arm. Shaking him, I receive no response. The purple mist has all but dissipated by now, yet still he won't move. Val! No, he's not dead. He can't be. But I have no time to check, because at that moment, I hear someone snickering behind me. The fox from the inn.
Oh, he's alive. Don't you worry.
The fox from the inn.
Shit, didn't even take much, eh? Thought he'd be more of a challenge.
The bastard keeps chuckling as he slowly approaches us. I suppress the shaking in my body and stand in front of Valos, praying that he really is unconscious. I have my dagger. I just need to make sure the fox doesn't see it coming.
This wouldn't be happening if you had just agreed to come quietly, little human.
What did you do to him? My voice is surprisingly calm, far from the mix of cold fury and rising panic storming inside me. You will regret this, Fox. You're better off turning tail right now before it gets ugly.
Really now?
He balls his paws into fists. I grip my dagger. He's only a handful of feet away now. I move first, lunging at his abdomen. The beastman dodges out of the way, too nimble for my unpracticed moves, but the blade's edge still grazes his skin. As my momentum carries me past him, the fox grabs me by the arm and twists it behind my back. Ouch. He brings his other fist down on my forehead. My head snaps back and my knees buckle.
Piece of shit. I'd carve you up right here if those rhinos didn't want you alive.
The blow has left me dazed. Distantly, I realize that he has forced the dagger out of my hand. I am pushed to the ground, the fox still twisting my arm as I scream in pain. His words send a new wave of panic washing over me. Why? Why go to these lengths? Excuse me. The fox, meanwhile, puts one foot on my back, continuing to rant. From the corner of my eye, I see him preparing ropes to bind me. There's a blindfold in his hand, too.
Let them have their fun with you. I have your stupid dragon friend to keep me company.
No. No! I'm not going to let him harm Valos. With a roar, I push myself off the ground so unexpectedly that the fox loses his footing. As he stumbles, I turn and crash into his legs, entangling them with my arms. Sounds very MMA. The beastman thrashes and roars, hitting me, scratching me as I climb on top of him, pinning him to the ground. His talons leave gashes on my back, my arms, my face. Even so, I hit him back with all the strength I can muster. My eyes search desperately for my dagger, but the bastard must have dropped it. I take another blow to the head. Ouch, my vision swims. Blood is running down my face. I can't keep this up. Then I see it. From before. A stone. There's a stone jutting out of the ground, just there. Our thrashing must have brought us closer. I grab the fox's head with both hands, and even as his claws rake through the flesh on my back, I lift it and slam it down onto the stone. The beastman's body jerks one, then stops moving. Panting, I fall back, my whole body shaking. Then I stumble over to Valos. I shake him again, and again there's no response. But he's breathing, I can tell that much. I try again, to no avail. Can't stay here. I shamble back to the fox, ripping his sleeve to make a makeshift bandage for my bleeding arm. Then, I try to push Val off the ground and onto my back so I can carry him. I heave, barely lifting him off the ground. He's heavy. Too heavy. But I need to get him somewhere safe. The inn. No, too far. We must be closer to the hideout by now. And even if I manage to carry Valos back to the town somehow, we'll be seen. The hideout. I retrieve the map, trying to determine where we should be going. My head still feels like it's stuffed with hay, and my thoughts drift slowly in and out, but I manage to get some grasp on our position. Val, however, I can't carry him. I just can't. I look around, an idea forming in my head when I spot some kind of plant with huge leaves. With my dagger, which I find on the ground, I cut some of them down, bind them together with the fox's rope, then painstakingly push Valos on top of them. Unfortunately, I have no good way to pull him, so I leave the rope around his feet tied, grab it, and use that for leverage. After that, it's a slow, miserable struggle to get us to our destination. My blood-encrusted face itches, and my back is still on fire. Worse still, with every passing minute, I can feel myself slipping further and further away. All those blows to the head have done their work. But I just need to get us to the hideout. It's not too far now. Just a little more. Ooh. Ooh. Where am I? I'm waking up. My head is still woolly. Is this the inn? Wait, no. I was in the forest. Valos! I groan in pain as I get up. Before I have a chance to take in my surroundings, however, I see a blur of movement as Valos appears in front of me, enveloping me with his arms. Oh, he was worried. His hold is gentle. Relief washes over me. He's fine. We're alive.
Sam, are you all right?
Yeah, I think so. He lets go and holds me at arm's length, examining my face.
I've cleaned and dressed all the wounds. I didn't think any of them were dangerous. It's mostly just scratches, but I was so worried.
I can tell. I try to laugh, but it's a little painful. What about you? I kept trying to wake you, but the fox threw some kind of mist and...
Don't worry about me. Whatever it was, it must have just put me to sleep. When I regained consciousness, I found you on the ground next to me. Did you carry me all the way there?
I do not even know where there is.
Close enough to our destination.
I must have fallen unconscious before we got there. I clutch my head. Sorry.
Don't be absurd. It's a miracle you got us as far as you did. And likely saved both of our lives. Thank you, Sam.
I wave him off. He was after me, not you. It is my fault we got in trouble.
He?
The fox. From the inn. Valos snarls. But then his expression softens again.
What happened?
I tell him what I remember of the encounter. Valos listens, his jaw clenched tight, eyes narrowed in silent fury.
And the fox? Dead?
I did not check. Sorry. Valos shakes his head and puts a hand on my shoulder.
No matter. Although we must be careful. If he's alive, he could easily track you.
I groan again. Ah, damn it. I did not think of that at all. I should have brought you back to Herschel. Valos squeezes my shoulder.
No, Sam. If anything, it was my failure to be knocked out of that fight so easily.
He silences my protest by raising his other hand.
I should have been more alert. There's no two ways about it. But at least this place is much more defensible. We should be safe enough here, as long as we keep a careful watch.
I nod, gulping. Valos removes his hand from my shoulder.
It seems I made a huge mistake as well when I didn't cut that bandit down. Although, It is odd that he seeks revenge against you, not me, when I was the one to take his eye.
I shrug, not at all eager to speculate what could be going through the head of that asshole. Wishing Valos had indeed finished him off is futile anyway. The rhino was alive and well, and if my hazy recollection of the fox's words is true, he's not alone.
If you feel fine, I can show you around a little. Otherwise, you can get some more rest.
No, I'm alright. It does not cause as much pain as it did before. Let's go.
Glad to hear.
So Valos shows me around the hideout. It's nothing fancy. Exactly what one would expect from a smuggler's den, really. A small cave made only somewhat livable by the efforts of the criminals who needed the place. They took the effort to carve some rocks into the shapes of steps and seats, and even installed a door in the entrance, although it's thankfully concealed by some vines on the outside. The late afternoon sunlight illuminated a small part of the cave, streaming in from an opening in the rock wall. Not a place I'd care to stay at for long, but good enough for now. Especially since Valos is here with me. Despite the earlier attack, the aftermath of which has left me all scratched up and dizzy, I feel comfortable with him around. We just need to get through this together.
Get some rest now. I'll keep watch.
Alright. I would love a bite of something before I try to sleep, however. Valos looks away, wearing a troubled expression.
We don't have any right now.
I blink, and then I realize what happened. Oh no. Damn it. I was in such a rush to get us out of here. I only grabbed the map. The dragon pats my shoulder, smiling faintly.
It's not your fault. Besides, I can hunt for something. Like the first time we met, remember?
Of course I do. How could I forget that day? It changed my life more than I could have ever imagined when I resolved to leave my village behind. Our talk in the dim light, as the rabbit Valos had caught roasted over the fire. I remember mistrusting him back then. Now it seems like the stupidest thing I have ever done. Do not go out now. It is too dangerous. Please. He stares out at the forest through the gap in the cave wall, watching the descending sun. Finally, he sighs and nods.
All right. You're weak and need sustenance, but I suppose it can wait until tomorrow. At least there's this.
He grabs a satchel from one of the stones.
Lucky it was still on me.
There's nothing but some scraps and a half a loaf of bread that's already begun to grow stale.
It's not much, but...
I am happy we have this much. He hands me the bread. I break it and push half right back into his hands. Valos looks at me quizzically, but I raise an eyebrow at him. If you will be keeping the watch first, you need food way more than I do. I would insist you eat the whole thing if I did not know you would be stubborn about it. He pouts, staring down at the meager meal.
But you were the one who got wounded.
I snort at that. He just scratched me a bunch. It is much better than it looks. Trust me, it's but a flesh wound. I'm not even lying. The fox did more damage with his fists than his claws, but the dizziness is receding. I count myself lucky that he did not gouge out my eye. The rest will heal soon enough. Who knows? Maybe the scars might even look good on me. Valos gives me a questioning look when I suddenly chuckle to myself, but I merely nod at the bread again. He finally relents, and we both sit down on one of the stone slabs. I can feel the warmth of his body, even though we are not touching. A fleeting thought compels me to lean against him. That'd be so cute. But I resist the urge. Despite our talk earlier on that hill, it still feels too forward of me. We eat quietly instead, the dragon lost in thought. He speaks up when he is done, though.
That bandit has some nerve coming after you when his last attempt cost him an eye.
I look down at the breadcrumbs that have fallen near our feet as we ate. I am worried.
Well, of course, after what just happened.
No, not about us. Well, not just about us. What if they go after Herschel and his inn instead? They know we have been staying there. After everything Herschel has done for us, I'd hate the thought of putting him in danger. Valos gives me a long look that I can't quite place, then reaches out and takes my hand. Even as I'm surprised by the gesture, I still squeeze it tight, his warm touch oddly comforting. He locks his amber eyes with mine.
Herschel, Relzin, the inn, they'll be fine. The bandit hired the fox because he couldn't be stupid enough to stage an attack in the middle of the town like that. And we'll be fine too. I promise. Just take a deep breath, Sam.
I do as told, then smile at Valos and nod. All right, I trust you. He smiles back and finally releases my hand.
Now, sleep. There were some blankets in one of those crates, so you should be comfortable enough. I'll be outside. Don't worry about switching places with me. I got plenty of sleep last night, thanks to you.
I nod at him. For a moment I feel like I should lean in and kiss him, but again my body freezes. Valos pats me on the shoulder again before walking to the cave entrance, like teasing us on that romance there, that slow burn. Even so, do not hesitate to wake me if you need something.
All right. Sleep well, Sam.
Something thrashing about in the darkness jolts me from sleep in the middle of the night. With my heart drumming against my chest, I jump off to my feet, about to call out to Val, but Val? Really calling him that more, huh? But then I see a small shadow against the moonlit opening of the cave. Just a bat. It swoops into the cave proper, and I lose sight of it for a moment, my eyes still not having adjusted to the darkness, before flying outside, leaving me alone once more. I take a deep breath, my panicked mind grateful that it wasn't an intruder. Valos must still be outside, keeping watch. I hesitate, trying to decide if I want to lie down again and try to get more sleep, or tell him we can trade places. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I flop back onto the blanket that serves as my bedding. I'm still exhausted from dragging Valos through the forest, and it would do us no good if I let my guard slip because of that. As much as I'd like to allow Valos some rest too, it's simply safer to him to be on the lookout for now. I close my eyes and soon slip back into slumber.
Sam?
This time, it's Valos' pleasant voice that rouses me from sleep. As I open my eyes, he's walking through the entrance, his amber eyes fixed on me. A little bit of sunlight barely illuminates the inside of the cave, and I'm still lying in the shadowed parts of the hideout. Good morning. Did you want to sleep? He looks out toward the forest, then shakes his head.
Thank you, but no. Not for now. I merely wanted to check on you.
I got enough rest. I can take the watch. I stretch, yawning, and feel some of the scratches I received the previous day itch uncomfortably. But it is only an itch, rather than piercing pain, and I'm grateful for that much.
That would be for the best. I thought I should take some time to hunt us a meal. The stale bread will not take us far.
Oh, are you sure you do not want to just get some rest yourself first? Once again, he shakes his head.
It's best done now, with dawn not too far behind us.
I get up, shake my shirt free of dust, then put it on and turn to the dragon. I will come with you then. You will have an easier time catching something that way.
If there's danger out there, I'd rather have you out of the way. Besides, you're still wounded.
It is only scratches. It's only a flesh wound. I am much better now. more importantly, if we are together and we do not allow ourselves to become distracted, it will be easier to catch any danger, and to hunt too. Valos hesitates. I am fine, really. Much better than yesterday.
Alright, but if something goes wrong, I want you to run.
I have to roll my eyes at that. I am not going to do that. If I had run last time, you would likely be dead by now. While he doesn't reply, only looking at me with a sullen expression, I gather up some bits and pieces left in the hideout by its previous inhabitants, hoping it will be enough to fashion some kind of snare. When I turn back to him, Valos is standing there, arms crossed, and for a moment, I'm sure he'll tell me to stay here. Again. But he doesn't. All these little cut to blacks, I'm wondering if different choices might have led to different outcomes in this moment. Let's go. On to the next episode, which is hopefully recorded for real this time. Gosh, like I said before, this is my third time attempting to record this. But I think everything's fine. Like I said, my new setup is working just fine. So we'll see. But regardless, thank you guys for watching. Hope you really liked it. I've been enjoying and making more content with this new setup I have, but a lot of it has been streaming. So feel free to find me on Twitch. I'll put the links below. Playing a lot of different games, not just furry visual novels, but I'm also working on some art stuff. I'll post more of it in the community tab for people to see. Hopefully you guys like it. I'm really trying to branch out and stuff, but in the meantime, any likes and comments and subscribes are really appreciated. Still trying to Still trying to make my way to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully this is the year. But regardless, thank you guys for watching. I just hope you really enjoyed it and have a good time while you're, experiencing some of my content. But anyway, yeah, hope you guys have a good night, a good day, a good evening, whatever it is for you now. And we'll just see you next time. Take care. Bye for now.